Welcome to the night school. You are over here with Terethia, and we are back with the 48 laws of power. Now, if you haven't watched my video, we did law 1 through 3 on part 1, and we did 4 through 6 on part 2. Now we're here to do 7 through 10. Okay, so with that being said, reflection, let's get into it. Law 7: get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Use the wisdom, knowledge, legwork of other people to further your own cause. Not only will such assistance save you valuable time and energy, it will give you a godlike aura of efficiency and speed. In the end, your helpers will be forgotten, and you will be remembered. Never do yourself what others can do for you. So what do you think about that rule, reflection? What do you think about law 7? I bet we all know someone who practiced law 7 well. Even when you think about corporations and things like that, they practice law 7 very well, don't they? Okay. So with that being said, let's keep going. Everybody steals in commerce and industry. I've stolen a lot myself, but I know how to steal. Okay, so what does that mean? They said they've stolen a lot themselves, but they know how to steal. That was Thomas Edison, 1847. Okay, so what does that mean, reflection? They know how to steal. Let me tell you let me read this to you. To be sure, if the hunter relies on the security of the carriage, utilize the legs of the 6 horses, and makes Wong Lang hold their reins. Then he will not tire himself and will find it easy to overtake swift animals. Now, supposing he discarded the advantage of the carriage, gave up the useful legs of the horses and the skill of the Wang, and aligned to run after the animals, then even though his legs were as quick as a loose cheese, he would not be in time to overtake the animals. In fact, if good horses and strong carriages are taken into use, then mere bondmen and bondwomen will be good enough to catch the animals. So basically, that's an example of law 7. They're letting the animals do the work for them, reflection. Okay, so they won't be so tired to when it's time to really hit the big agenda. Okay, so they letting them do the groundwork, and when it's time to hit the big agenda, that's when they're coming in. Okay, so that's kind of how law 7 work. Get others to do the work for you, the groundwork, but always take the credit. Okay, because even when you think about a corporation, think about all the things and all the people that put in work into a corporation. But when you hear the logo, you don't hear all those people names. You just hear the logo. Okay, you just hear the corporation name, not the people who put all the work, the groundwork into the corporation. Okay, so that's them practicing that law 7. Okay, let's image this. The vulture, of all the creatures in the jungle, he has it the easiest. And I would definitely agree with that, reflection. The vulture definitely has it the easiest in the jungle. The hard work of others become his work. Their failure to survive become his nourishment. Keep an eye on the vulture. While you are hard at work, he is circling above. Do not fight him. Join him. Okay, because if you do not join him, then what do you become? You become the prey. Okay, reflection. So that's law 7. Let's get into law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Okay, we definitely know people exercising this law. Okay, make others come to you. Use bait if necessary. Okay, you got to think, reflection. Even when you think about things that are going on the news right now, people will do things and they'll tell them, okay, we'll pull up. Well, why would you pull up on them, reflection? Think about that. Why would you go to where they are? The smartest one always bait them in to come where they are. No one knows the territory you're going to pick better than you, because you are picking it. So therefore, the power is in your hand. We are talking about the 48 laws of power of here, reflection. Okay, and this is the foundation work. We have to know the foundation before we get into building the house. Okay, reflection. So with that being said, let's keep going. It says, when you force the other person to act, you are in control. It is always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process, lure him or her with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards then. Remember, if you're going to them, anything can go because it's unexpected. That's just like certain magic. You get what I'm saying? Reflection, we're talking about energy. Okay, we're talking about energy. You never want to step into someone's domain in their energy. Make them come to yours. Okay, let's keep it going. And then you know when to strike when necessary. Let's keep going. The Congress of Vienna in 1814, which are major powers of Europe, gathered to carve up the remains of Napoleon's fallen empire. The city was full of Galilee and balls, where most splendid in memory. Hovering over the proceedings, however, was now the shadow of Napoleon himself. Instead of being executed or exiled far away, he had been sent to an island of Ebola, not far of the coast of Italy. So instead of just pushing him off far away, they just pushed him off to an island on the coast. Okay, it says he was even imprisoned on an island. A man as bold and as creative as Napoleon made everyone nervous. The Australians plotted to kill him on Elba, but decided it was too risky. Alexandria I, which was a Russia's temperamental Caesar, heightened the anxiety by throwing a fit during Congress when part of Napoleon was denying him. Beware, I shall loose the monster. They was talking about Napoleon, okay? Because everybody was threatened by Napoleon, okay? So they really wanted him out of here, reflection, but they ended up putting him on an island in Elba, okay, or Elba. Okay, so it says everyone knew he meant Napoleon. Of all the statesmen gathered in Vienna, only Talleyrand, Napoleon's former reign minister, seemed calm and unconcerned. It was as if he knew something others did not. Remember, the quietest one in the room always is the one you really need to worry about, because that must mean they know something everybody else don't. Or that could mean that they are analyzing the energy in the room, okay? It says, meanwhile, on the island of Elba, Napoleon's life was mockery of his previous glory. As Elba's king, he had been allowed to form a court that was cook, a wardrobe's mistress, an official paintess, and a handful of courtiers. All of this was designed to humiliate Napoleon. It was seemed as if it was to work. So it seemed as if it was to work because he used to be a king. Even though they put him on this island and he had certain privileges, it was nothing compared to what he used to have. Okay. It says that winter, however, there occurred a series of events so strange and dramatic that they may have been scripted in a play. Elba, which is the island that Napoleon is on, was surrounded by British ships, their cannons covering all possible exit points. Yet, somehow, in broad daylight on February the 26th, 1815, a ship with 900 men on board picked up Napoleon and put to sea. The English gave chase, but the ships got away. This almost impossible escape astonished the public throughout Egypt. Okay, throughout Europe. Okay, so they was like, he was put on this particular island, wasn't an island you can just escape off of. Do you hear what I'm saying, reflection? So this was supposed to be the unescapable island, and Napoleon ended up somehow getting assistance from the British and ended up escaping. Let's keep going. They're trying to say it seemed like it was almost staged. What does this mean, though? Make other people come to you. Use the bait if necessary. That's the law. So let's keep going. It says, although it would have been safer to leave Europe, Napoleon not only chose to return to France, but he raised the odds by marching on Paris with a tiny army and in hopes of recapturing his throne. His strategy worked. People of all classes threw themselves at his feet. An army under Marshal Ney sped from Paris to arrest him. But when the soldiers saw their beloved former leader, they changed their minds. So when they saw it was Napoleon, you get what I'm saying? They were supposed to go and take him out, reflection, but when they seen it was their leader, their old leader, they couldn't do it. They was like, no. They graced him with open arms. Okay, they were glad that Napoleon was back. So let's keep it going. Napoleon was declared emperor again. Volunteers swelled the ranks with his new army. Delirium swept the country. In Paris, crowds went wild. The king who had replaced Napoleon fled the country. He was out of there, okay? For the next 100 years, Napoleon ruled France. Soon, however, the greedy list subsided. France went bankrupt. Its resources were nearly exhausted, and there was little Napoleon could do about this. It was like that when he got there, so it wasn't much that he could do. At the Battle of Waterloo, in June of that year, he was finally defeated for good. This time, his enemies had learned their lesson. They exiled him to barren island of St. Helena off the west coast of Africa. There he had no hopes to escape. So what does this mean, reflection? You have to think, reflection. They didn't want him. They never wanted him there anyway. They wanted him far, far away. So how did he escape though? His bold move to escape was his friend ended up helping him escape. He knew that the people would, it was like playing chess with checkers. Remember when Napoleon first got, when they first was finna exile him over there, they didn't want him on that island. They wanted him far, far away. They really didn't want him in existence, period. Okay. So instead of that happening, they just sent him to that little island. So remember, the quietest one in the room knows something. So that time he was plotting how to get Napoleon. He was plotting how to get Napoleon exiled all the way to the other island in Africa. Okay. So instead of doing that, he knew he couldn't get to Napoleon, and he knew he couldn't convince all them people in the room. So what did he do? He made Napoleon come to him. Reflection. He let the mouse loose. He let the mouse loose at the trap so it could come and eat the bait. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's how that law worked right there. Okay. So it says, when I have laid bait for deer, I don't shoot at the first doe that comes to sniff, but I wait until the whole herd has gathered round. Okay, so that's a hunter. We're talking about the law of power. We're talking about law 8. Make other people come to you and use bait if necessary. Okay, so it says, the bear hunter does not chase his prey. Okay, so what does that mean? Good warriors make others come to them and do not go to others. This is the principle of emptiness and fullness of others in self. When you introduce opponents to come to you, then their force is always empty. As long as you do not go to them, your force is always full. Attacking emptiness with fullness is like throwing stones on eggs. We're talking about law 8. Let's keep it going. Law 9. Win through your actions, never your arguments. Remember, the quietest one in the room usually has the most power in the room because they know something that everyone else in the room do not know. Let's keep going. It says, any momentary triumph you think you have gained through argument is rarely a preheroic victory. The resentment and ill will you stir up is stronger and it lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. It is much more powerful to get others to agree with you through your actions without even having to say a word. Demonstrate, do not extrapolate. Okay? So what does that mean? A lot of people can say a lot of things, but it's different when they say something than when it's doing. Just like a person can say they love you, but if they don't show it, it's different. But a person can come through and never say they love you, but they constantly always show it because you feel it. That's energy, reflection. Okay, we're talking about law 9. Win through actions, not through arguments. Okay, so with that being said, let's read this. It says, I have looked after these dogs for 10 days. The Sultan has seen the results himself. I have looked after you for 30 years. And what is the result? I am condemned to death on the street of accusations brought to you by my enemies. The sultan blushed with shame. He not only pardoned the vizier, but gave him a fine set of clothes and handed him to the men who had slandered his reputation. Okay, this is a story reflection. This is a very important story too, that I would like to read to you. It's called The Sultan and the Vizier, or the Vizier and the Vizier. Okay, so this particular man had worked for this king for a long time, 30 years. Okay, his honesty, however, had made him many enemies. Okay, so a lot of people didn't like this vizier. Okay, so they used to go and they used to tell, because he was the type of person, he would say what he has to say. You know, a lot of people do not like the truth, but just because they don't like the truth does not mean the truth is not necessary. Okay, but sometimes saying things and saying the truth can make you a lot of enemies. So he made quite a few enemies. With him making enemies, the enemies went to the king, and the king, they got in the king's ear and was saying a lot of different things. Okay, but keep in mind, if someone is your enemy, of course they're not going to have good things to say about you. So he went and they transferred that energy to the king. Okay, so the king ended up turning on this man who had shown him loyalty for 30 years. So the king told him that he was going to basically be executed and fed to the dogs. So the king, the vizier was basically telling the king, okay, I can handle that, but give me a couple of days, 11 exactly. Give me 11 days, the number of pathways. Give me 11 days so I can get my affairs in order. Okay. So the king allowed him to do that. On the 11th day, he went, well, not on the 11th day, he actually went and he trained the dogs that he was supposed to be fed to. Okay, so what does that mean? That mean reflection, he showed loyalty to those dogs. He fed them every day. So when it got time for him to get fed to those dogs, the dogs didn't even attack him. They didn't attack him because they don't bite the hand that fed them. Okay, there goes that saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you. So the dogs were more loyal to him than the king, who he had been loyal to for 30 years. And he told the king, these dogs are showing me more loyalty, and I've only known them for 11 days, and I've shown you loyalty for 30 years, and you allow someone else's accusations, not only someone else's accusation, my enemy's accusations, to cause you to feed me to the dogs. And that made the king feel shameful. Okay. And when he seen that the dogs did not eat him or did not attack him, it was him speaking with his words. It was him speaking with his actions, is not his words. Okay. So sometimes less is always best. Speak with your actions, not your words. Because words, you get what I'm saying? You can speak things into existence. But power, you don't have to say too much with power. You don't have, when you know your power, when you have manifested your power, when you have harnessed your power, you don't have to go back and forth with anyone, because you know what you are capable of and you don't have to say too much. Okay? So the keys to power are the realm of power, which you must learn to judge your moves by the long-term effects on other people, not momentarily. Okay? They may appear to agree with you politely, but inside they may resent you. They may agree with you when you're going back and forth with someone. The people around you may seem like they agree with you, but the whole time they're keeping inside, they really don't care for you. They may resent you. Okay? Words have the insidious ability to be interpreted according to the other person's mood and insecurities. And sometimes you may not know a person's mood or insecurities, but we all have them. Even the best argument has no solid foundation. For we all have come to distrust the slippery nature of words. Okay. We all know some people who we probably thought wouldn't say certain things that they have. Okay. Words are a dime a dozen. You can pick any one of them. Everyone knows that in the heat of an argument, we will all say anything to support our cause. Okay. Some people even use quotes from Bibles, whatever they need to do to justify their actions at that time. But the truth is generally seen, but rarely heard. What does that mean? Certain things a person can tell you this is finna happen, but you may not believe it till it's actually seen. That's called speaking without speaking. Okay, reflection. Let's use the seesaw. This is a great metaphor. This is a great image. The seesaw up and down go to the argues. Remember when somebody's arguing, one person arguing, then the next person arguing, then one person arguing, then the next person arguing. Okay, gravity, up, down, up, down. We talking about energy and we're talking about power. The seesaw up and down goes to the arguers, getting nowhere fast. Get off the seesaw and show them how meaning without kicking or pushing. Leave them at the top and let gravity bring them down gently to the ground. If you back and forth with somebody on the seesaw, think about it though, reflection. You back and forth with somebody on the seesaw, get off of it. What they gonna do? They gonna fly or they gonna fall to the bottom, ain't it? Look, reflection is nothing you're doing. You speaking without words. Because you don't have, when you know the power, you know who's really controlling it. Just when they get off, what happens? Reflection. Okay, that's a great argument without arguing. Okay, never argue. In society, nothing must be discussed, given only results. Okay, talk. Remember, words are a dime a dozen, but results, that's something different. Okay, you cannot argue with results, even though we know some people still will. Okay, so with that being said, let's keep it going. Law 10. Okay, we're gonna come back for Law 10 because I don't want to make this video too long. Reflection. We're going to come back for Law 10 reflection. We're going to do 10 through 13 on the next video. You're over here at the night school and you're with Terethia. Ashe.